Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and yeah, Happy New Year. I hope every one of you had a great start into the new year. I hope you had the possibility to take some time off, relax, spend time with your friends and family, and yeah, just enjoy the holidays. So here we are, new year, new beginning. I hope you're as excited as me for this year to come. I mean, especially after 2022, which was kind of a hard year for most of us, I think. Yeah, and of course with everything that happened, not only in Veve, but I mean the NFT and crypto space in general, but also like the broader economics. I mean, it has been a tough year with a lot of challenges. And now the new year, I don't know, let's see. Of course, I'm optimistic. I hope things will be better, but of course things can also be worse. So yeah, as they say, hope for the best but prepare for the worst. So this is the motto, I guess, for this year. But yeah, when it comes to Veve, I think there's a lot of exciting stuff that we can look forward to. Stuff that, of course, we had expected maybe for this year already, but there has been delays and all that. But yeah, so I think next year, I definitely think we can look forward to MCP, OUP, the Veveverse, so a lot of exciting stuff that is going to come. So of course I'm very excited how this journey with Veve will continue for us, for me also. However, as now we closed off 1 year, and it's the first year where we have like a complete data for Immutable X, I thought it would be very interesting to just take that data and have like a year review for Veve for 2022. And of course it hasn't been the best year. I mean, no spoilers here. We know that the amount of user has gone down. Also the amount of activity on the app has obviously gone down throughout the year. So this won't be a surprise for you if you see the numbers. However, I also looked at some other metrics and I found some very interesting insights there as well. And that's what I want to share with you. So before we dive into it, if you like this type of content, please leave a like. This is a free way to help support my channel. And yeah, so without further ado, let's get right into it. So the way I prepared this data to get this kind of year review is to look at the data on a monthly basis. Yeah, and just see the evolution for each month of the past year. So to start off, of course, we're going to look at the active wallets for each of the months. And some of you who follow me on Twitter, you are already familiar with my kind of monthly updates, and I also do these weekly, where I just get over the monthly numbers like active wallets, market trades, buy, sells, how many tokens were minted and how many people minted tokens. If you're interested in that, go follow me on Twitter. As I said, I do these monthly and also on a weekly basis. So what does it mean, active wallet? It's very important here to notice that my definition of an active wallet is a wallet that made at least one transaction during that month, either in the primary or the secondary market, because that's the only way for me to see if the wallet has been active. Other definitions might be an active wallet is, or an active user is someone who logs into the app or has an activity or posts something on the feed, makes a listing or something like that. This can also be a definition of an active user in a business like sense. However, as I'm using the blockchain data, and that's all that I have, and I think it's also one of the, I guess, most interesting for those of us that are active on Veve to see how many people are actually transacting on Veve. This is the definition, we will go here. But just to keep that in mind, if you see other numbers somewhere else or from the Veve team themselves, so they may have a different definition for active wallet. Just another note here, as you see for December, the number is 32,421. And if you look at my last post for December, it's 32,422. So why is there a difference of one wallet? This is because for December, I didn't have to filter out the burn wallet, because there, as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I know, there haven't been any burns. But as I pulled the data for the whole year, and obviously we had some burns, I also filtered out the burn wallet. Just for those people that are always very detail oriented, and so that's how you know. But Now to look at the evolution of active wallets. Of course, as I said, no surprise here. The amount of active wallets has gone down substantially. We started the year off with close to 400,000 active wallets on a monthly basis, and also roughly 250,000 new active wallets per month. So these were kind of the first 3 months, the first quarter of the year. We will see that throughout the data, that first quarter is very similar, and then from there kind of things changed. So basically we went from roughly 400,000 active wallets to now in the last quarter close to 30,000 active wallets. But still, I know a lot of people out there believing that no new users are coming to Veve. We still do have new people or new users coming to Veve. In this case, new active wallet, or the way I define it, is just when a wallet has its first transaction. So I don't know when someone downloads the Veve app or opens it for the first time, but what I can see on the blockchain is when a wallet does its very first transaction. So that's when I label it as the new active wallet. So we can still see we have over 1,000 new users per month, at least in the last quarter. Of course, nowhere near the 250,000 or 200 to 300,000 new active wallets we had in the first quarter. But it is what it is. But then another way to look at it is to look at the user churn or wallet churn. So here I looked at something that's the percentage churn month over month. So what does it mean? So I looked at all the wallets that were active 1 month, if they are still active the next month, and if it's not active if the wallet is not active the next month, then it's a churned wallet. And if we look at it in this way, of course, if we just look at the blank numbers, we will see that churn obviously goes down because we have less active wallet. So the interesting thing here is to look at it percentage-wise. But percentage-wise, we also seen that churn has actually gone down, which I think most people would have expected people to churn more, especially later this year compared to the beginning of the year. But actually, we had in the first quarter, we had over 60% of wallets that were active in a month that weren't active in the following months. And this number has come down substantially, and in the last quarter of this year, the churn of users has actually come down to roughly 30%. So it kind of stabilized around 30% for now. Let's see how this continues in this year. But I thought this was very interesting to see. So next I looked at net accumulation. For those of you familiar with my VX tracker, you know that net accumulation, I call it taking just the sum of the number of items or collectibles you minted plus the ones you purchased in secondary market minus those that you have sold, for each wallet. This is the net accumulation for a wallet. So on the VVX tracker, we track the net accumulation for our top 100 wallets. As you can see here, it has gone up quite a bit in the past week. So if you're not familiar with the VVX tracker, the link is down in the video description. But now I looked at it instead of just looking at it for the top 100 wallets, here I look at the average net accumulation for all wallets that have been active during the months in question. So here it's also very interesting to see that it actually went up. So in the first quarter, the average accumulation per wallet was 1.2, 1.4, and this number has gone up. It was higher highest in the second quarter of the year, but still now in the last quarter it's roughly between 3 and 5, which I think is a very positive sign, because it starts to show the picture that in the beginning, in the first quarter of the year, we had way more flippers on the Veve app, or people that weren't accumulating that much of collectibles, so not really what we would call a collector. But now that in the later months, we do see more wallets, or those wallets that are active are actually wallets that tend to accumulate more. So another quite interesting insight in my opinion. So staying with the topic of accumulation, another way to look at it is to see the wallets that have throughout the months had a net positive accumulation versus a net negative accumulation or a net zero accumulation. So what do I mean with that? So net positive accumulation would be that taking all the transactions during that month, the mints, the purchases, the sales, the wallet on the end of the month had more collectibles or purchased more collectibles than it sold. Net negative, on the other hand, then would be after all the mints, purchases and sales, basically the wallet had less collectibles. So they sold more than they minted or purchased. And net zero is like all the other cases would be when it's on par. So all the collectibles that were purchased or minted were sold. So basically this would be kind of the flippers. And here again, we see that the first quarter, the amount of net zero accumulation, this really surprised me, it was almost 50% or even higher than 50%. Everything bought or minted, they sold during that month. Because on the end, like the net balance was zero. So super interesting. And then, of course, to see that the net positive accumulation after the first quarter actually stayed quite high on 60 to 70% of the users currently on Veve are actually collectors or people that keep accumulating collectibles. And only close to 20% of the wallets tend to have a net negative accumulation. So yeah, that was another thing that I thought was kind of surprising, but actually quite positive to look at it. So next, continuing with accumulation, I wanted to see, okay, so what about wallets that accumulate over 100 collectibles? So meaning that with all the mints and purchases and even considering their sales, in 1 month they accumulated more than 100 collectibles. And by the way, if I say collectibles, I include collectibles and comics. So it's always like collectible and comics throughout this whole data. Of course, if we just look at the plain numbers, the numbers went down, which is no surprise because we have way less active wallets today than we had at the beginning of the year. But if you look at it percentage-wise, it actually went up, and it went up a lot, especially after the second quarter of the year, which I think is also interesting to know that we do have some really hardcore collectors on the app. So definitely something that I will also keep tracking in the future. So then this is the maximum days since last activity, or days since last active, meaning days since last transaction. So basically I look here at the average for all wallets, and for each wallet I look at, so each month, what was the maximum days the wallet has been inactive before it was active that month. I hope that's more or less clear. Though it was highest in July, we do see that it kind of, in the last month it also increased. So first, of course, I thought, okay, so this is not so great because it would mean that wallets are, of course, less active for longer periods of time on the app on Veve. However, especially now that we had in the last months that we had, I think, beta testing going on for merging accounts, this number, especially in December, could be misleading because we are talking about an average here. So meaning that if there were some wallets that got merged and therefore became active in December, but those wallets hadn't been active since KYC was introduced, so for more than 5 months, of course, they would skew the number significantly. So I think it's definitely an interesting metric, but I will look more or do more in-depth analysis on it in my next wallet deep dive analysis. So here you see, like always, also with data and data analysis, there's always two sides to a coin, so there are different ways to interpret data. In this case, yeah, the first look looks bad, but there are more factors that we definitely have to take into account here. So the last I did was something that is also used in mobile gaming a lot, and this is to track your regulars. So in mobile gaming, this would be your users that play the game each day for a certain period you define. So usually like a user that plays 7 days a week, you would define as a regular user. So here what did I do? I classified a wallet as a regular if within that month there was a period of 7 days in a row that wallet made a transaction. So basically a wallet that made a transaction 7 days in a row, at least once during the month, would be labeled a regular in this case. And it's really nice to see also that percentage-wise, this percentage has gone up in the second half of the year. So in the beginning of the month, we had like 2%, 1 to 2% of those regular wallets. But this has gone up to almost like now between 4 and 6 on average, or 5%. I mean, to go into the app and make a transaction 7 days in a row, I think this shows that you are a very active user in that case. Yeah, so this is all the metrics or all the data I gathered for this 2022 review. I hope you found it interesting, and of course I'm interested in your thoughts about these numbers, about the evolution of those numbers. Is it what you expected? Is it worse than you expected, or is it better than you expected? What are your interpretations of it? Always happy to discuss that and hear your opinions in the comment section. So let me know, definitely. And I guess I will put the link to this document in the video description. So of course you can look at the data. Here you also have the kind of raw data with also the number of sellers, buyers and minters. So that's all from me for you today, and definitely will keep track of these metrics in the future. So follow me on YouTube, follow me on Twitter to stay, if you want to stay up to date. Have a great rest of your day.